Hello, Boone High. I'm Bree Witt, and welcome to this week's news show.
With all the latest in news, sports, and entertainment. You're watching the BooneTV Buzz, Iowa High School's most watched high school news show.
There are many classes Boone High School offers, one of those classes being food and nutrition. Cole Christensen features student teacher Mrs. Busher's FCS class.
There are a lot of options at Boone High for cooking classes. Many students have enjoyed food and nutrition because of the things they have learned so far this year.
I've enjoyed this class because I get to cook with all my friends and we get to have great memories, and I know how to cook everything.
I've enjoyed this class because there's a lot of cooking, and so far we have cooked eggs, cookies, frosting, and that's mostly it.
Miss Busher wants all of her students to use the things they learn in class in the outside world.
Yeah, so in foods and nutrition, this is the first level class for FCS, and students learn the basics of cooking, and we do basic cleaning, basic cooking, and they can take these skills into their future and use them to cook and clean and do everyday chores in life.
Many of the students think that these skills that they will learn in class will help them in the future.
I think the skills in this class will help us in the future because if we go to college, we can learn how to cook good food, not always ramen noodles.
The skills will help me learn and prepare for the future, and I'll know how to cook more than what I do now.
There are a lot of goals that Miss Busher sets for her students and what they should achieve this year in her class.
The main goals are to get a base level for foods classes so they can eventually move on to take culinary and then take and bake, which is more in an advanced cooking class.
There are a bunch of students who love Miss Busher's and Miss Hicks's cooking class, and they have a bunch of goals for the class, and there's also a bunch of things they will learn from it that they will use in the future. This has been Cole Christensen from BooneTV, and as always, roll doors.
From behind Boone High's concerts and plays, we have the Tech Crew. Max Clark features Boone High's Tech Crew.
Lighting is more than just making sure the audience can see. It is about creating atmosphere, emotion, and focus. We spoke with the lighting crew to see how they bring the stage to life.
You know, using different lighting techniques and colors is very important when you're making the light show. You know, the colors and the effects you use help sort of convey what's going on in the scene and where the location is. So sort of where whatever's going on in the play at that moment, sort of what we decide to base our colors and effects off of.
The spotlight operator plays a key role in making sure the right people stand out at the right moment.
So my role in the production of like the musicals and the plays, I do a lot of the stuff with the lights, like the spotlight I'll do, and I began to start programming like the different colors. So it's not the biggest role, but everything plays a part.
Behind the scenes, the lighting crew faces constant challenges from quick fixes to last-minute changes. The work is essential to keeping the show running smoothly.
I'd say the most challenging part of the job is just always making sure we're keeping up with what's going on the stage. Sometimes things can start moving pretty quick out there, so just making sure the lights are always up to speed is probably the most challenging part.
Lighting may not be in the spotlight, but without it, the show wouldn't shine. This has been Max Clark from BooneTV.
To keep our school nice and clean, we are thankful for Boone High School custodial staff. Up next, BooneTV's Jace Barrick features Boone High School's janitors.
Every day, staff and students walk into a shiny, clean school. However, this school doesn't clean itself, and there's a dedicated group to thank for that. Boone High has a hard-working janitorial staff that works diligently to keep our space clean. One of these janitors is Ryan Dirksen, and they have a lot of reasons as to why they work so hard every day.
Just keeping things rolling for the kids, making sure it looks good, and that we have a happy, safe environment here for everybody. It's just earning an honest paycheck, I guess. I love working hard for what I make here, so.
The custodial staff tirelessly works to keep the students safe and to make sure they are in a clean environment, yet many students never express their gratitude. However, Senior Jonathan Ocker is very grateful for the janitors. Here's what he is thankful for.
The ability of the janitors at this school to just put up with the state that 600 rowdy teenagers can put it in every day is truly something to be respected. I know it's their job, they're paid for it and everything. But we're a mess, and I really appreciate that at the end of the day, sometimes it's a mess, but the next day it's always, back to status quo.
The janitorial staff are very important to the high school, as their work keeps the school running and provides a clean space for students. Harrison Smith explains why his work is so important to the school.
Yeah, especially being an alumni of Boone High and being here when most of, Boone High was built, and the new part at least. It's been a real pleasure to come back and be a steward of the building and take care of the things that I watched come to fruition and things like that. As far as the other schools, there's no more value than working with kids and making sure that they're safe and healthy and good to go, so then they can have the basic right to learn in a building provided by their community.
The custodians here at Boone High give us a lot to be thankful for. And as the school year winds down, we have less time to say thank you. So, before we head off to summer, let's all give a big thank you to our janitors. This has been Jace Barrick with BooneTV. Roll doors.
There are a lot of very talented kids in Boone High, and Jacob Boone is one of them. Here's Gabe Van Dyke's student shout-out feature.
Among the students of Boone High School, one sophomore in particular is the feature of today, Jacob Bone. Jacob Bone is a part of many activities and is quite the active student.
I'm involved in a lot of different activities. I'm involved in show choir, I'm involved in normal choir, I'm involved in football, and I'm also involved on the golf team. I'm involved in FCA, and I would say my favorite activity that I'm a part of is either swing choir or FCA. I like FCA because I'm able to share my faith through other people and be a leader in that community. And I also like swing choir because I get to sing and dance and just be funny all around, and it's just a really great time.
So Jacob is active, but how did he get involved in these activities?
I started swing choir last year. Linnea Trudeau begged me to basically be her partner. And so I was like, you know what, this could be a lot of fun. I love to sing, I love to dance. So Miss Earl also had no freshman boys last year, and so she was looking for some younger people to come in, and I decided I would join, and it's been a great time, and I've had a lot of fun doing it. And then with FCA, I joined FCA this year, and Gabby Lusk came up to me and asked me to be a leader for it, and she said she thinks I'd be a great person for it. And so that's how I joined those activities, and I'm just really dedicated to promoting them and getting as many people involved in them as possible.
Jacob seems to be a great guy, but let's see how his peers think of him.
I can see him being a sports broadcaster for the NFL.
I just love his positive and lighthearted attitude. I love the way he approaches things in life. He's a great guy to be around. He's a great role model, great influence. And he's just fun to be around in general, man.
Has quite a lot of energy. I think it's in a positive way. And I think he lights up rooms that he walks into.
The high school activities are great, but what's his plan for the long run after high school?
Only being a sophomore, I'm still pretty young and new to this whole high school thing, so it's definitely something to think about. But where I see myself in 5 years or whatever is I plan to hopefully attend a college where I can go bowl at and earn my 4-year degree. And my goal is hopefully to either do something in the sports broadcasting field or to do something in the faith field and be like a pastor or something like that. And just the same thing with the activities that I'm involved in now, because I'm involved in sports broadcasting. I really like that class. And then obviously with FCA, just something where I can continue those two fields.
Thank you for tuning in on this feature of Jacob Boone. This has been Gabe Van Dyke with BooneTV.
Up next, BooneTV's Elliot Riddle has been hard at work putting together a review for the offbeat music album Smile by Porter Robinson. Here's Elliot with his thoughts on Smile.
Greetings, Boone High. I am Elliot Riddle. While people love making media reviews for BooneTV, myself included, of course, I've noticed there's a distinct lack of one kind of review here. Sure, we get the movies, we get the shows, and we get the games, but one thing I never see here is album reviews. So I figured I might as well be the change I want to see in the world, and start by reviewing one of my favorite albums of 2024, Porter Robinson's latest record, Smile. Or Smile, D, how do you pronounce it? Whatever. We're reviewing this record. For a while now, Porter Robinson has been my all-time favorite musician. His albums Worlds and Nurture shaped my music taste to the way they are today. And with tracks such as Sad Machine, Goodbye to a World, Shelter, Look at the Sky, and Unfold, He's proven himself to be an incredibly talented songwriter and producer. So earlier this year, when it was announced he was releasing another album, I was ecstatic. Contrasting his other works, Smell goes for a more poppy style instead of the more EDM-focused sound of his previous albums. I think that Porter definitely succeeded at making a more catchy, pop-like album. The lead single, Cheerleader, has been on loop for me since it came out back last March. Its other singles, Knock Yourself Out and Russian Roulette, further established what the album would be like, with the former being a bombastic and goofy track, while the latter has a focus on a serious topic, while including a couple funny lines. With the release of Knock Yourself Out, Porter Robinson would state his goal with the album was to create something that's just dumb fun, which eventually shifted into sharing his true feelings like he did on his prior albums. This sort of sentimentality mixed with whimsy is especially shown through the aforementioned singles and tracks like Kitsune Maison Freestyle and Perfect Pinterest Garden, and it creates a really interesting contrast between the lyrics and the content. My biggest complaint is with the order of the tracks. It just feels kind of weird. For instance, the track Russian Roulette is a beautiful 6-minute long track about dealing with suicidal thoughts and deciding to live on despite of them. It works perfectly to the climax of the album, ending with a huge drop and a message to the audience simply saying,
"Don't kill yourself, you idiot."
And then you realize you're on song 3 when it hits you with... There are a couple moments like this, but I think this is probably the most egregious example. I also think that a few tracks wind up being a bit unmemorable. Year of the Cup stands out to me most in this regard. While I still think it's a strong track, I don't really come back to it that often. The song uses a long stretch of interview snippets from Lil Wayne, which, while it adds to the overall story of the track, it really bogs down the experience of listening to it. But while the order is a bit flawed, I still think that the music itself is exceptional. Tracks like Cheerleader, Mona Lisa, and Is There Really No Happiness stand out as some of the best songs in his already great discography. The album goes 10 for 10 with its tracks, with tracks like Knock Yourself Out, Easier to Love You, and the aforementioned Russian Roulette. In my first listen, Perfect Pinterest Garden and Kitsune Maison Freestyle were both rather jarring, but after listening to the record more than once, I've definitely gotten more accustomed to them, to the point where I think they're some of my favorites. Both the slow and the energetic tracks all have such a vibe to them, making it an album I think is definitely worth listening to. Even Year of the Cup, which I do have my issues with, has those issues made up for with its raw lyrics and vocal performance. To wrap it up, I would give the album a 4.5 out of 5 stars. A couple transitions are a bit awkward, but the music for the most part is incredibly special. While I don't think it has the consistent highs of Nurture, it's still a pretty steady album, and its peaks are on par with those of his other albums. I think it's a great album, and while it may not be my favorite of the year, there was a lot of tough competition. I would probably rank it as my second pick, and I strongly recommend it. This has been Elliot Riddle, signing off.
Lastly, with all the upcoming movies and shows, Gabe Van Dyke features the upcoming How to Train Your Dragon live action.
Hello Boone High School, my name is Gabriel Van Dyke and welcome to my review show. Today we will be reviewing the live-action How to Train Your Dragon movie. The movie will be released June 13th, 2025, this summer. Right off the bat, the CGI and the script of the movie seemed really good, but I'm a little skeptical of the actors chosen. Let's take a closer look. As I was watching some of the trailers and researching the movie, I was really blown away by the CGI. The clips look really clean and realistic. The dragons look so real, and you can really see the effort that went into this movie. The fire looks so destructive, yet beautiful and awesome. And the flight, I was very skeptical of, but looks fantastic. Another thing would be the script. The dialogue really seems to be just like the original script, or at least closely related. A big thing that people are talking about with the movie would be the actors. Many people think the actors chosen should be different, and the resemblance is small between the actors and the original animated characters. My thoughts on the subject are, you aren't gonna find a perfect actor that has great resemblance as well. And the actors that they chose are very skilled and play the parts well. As I researched, the only thing I found that could be considered as a con would be the actors, but as I mentioned previously, this could be debated and even considered as a pro. As far as I'm aware, most people recognize this as a con. Other than that, I feel that this movie has a lot of effort put into it and the best movie I've seen in a long time. I reckon it will not disappoint most audiences. I give this movie a rating of 4 stars, as it looks great, and the only con I can see would be the cast. Thank you for watching this review of How to Train Your Dragon. This has been Gabriel Van Dyke with BooneTV.
Thank you all for joining us for this week's news show. We will be back next week with all the latest news at Boone High School. In the meantime, make sure to visit us on our various social media pages. Like us on Facebook, follow us on Twitter and Instagram, and subscribe to our YouTube. And now from all of us from BooneTV, make sure you stay safe, stay cool, and have a wonderful week, Boone High. Roll doors.